Hello and welcome to GameRules.com. My name is Mark, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Romi Rami. This is a contract Romi game for 2 to 4 players, in which players are trying to collect as many contracts as possible, as well as score as many bonus points as possible. How does all that work? Well, let's dive in and learn how to play. Out of the box, you will get a 92 card deck that is composed of 4 suits: hearts, diamonds, cherries, and clovers. There are 36 contract cards, and there are a few different types of contracts. The first is a set, and there are many different set requirements. For example, this contract will require you to get a 4 of a kind, or a set of 4 of the same number. This contract requires 3 pairs, and each pair would need to be the same number. But all 3 pairs do not have to be the same. So you could have a pair of 2s, a pair of 3s, and a pair of 4s. Next is a specific pair. So here, this contract requires a pair of 5s. And it also requires the last type that you need to get, and that is a run. And a run is denoted by this arrow that goes across the card spread. A run is a sequence of numbers in sequential order. On these contract cards, you also have the point value that contract is worth, as well as a suit bonus you will receive for getting that contract and then having that suit. We'll talk about that in the scoring section. There are also 4 trophies in this game. Each trophy is double-sided, and they are an opportunity for players to earn extra points. Trophies are won by meeting the criteria that is on the trophy. So for example, the player with the most pairs in their contract collection pile, or their scoring tableau, as it's called, will win this trophy and earn 5 extra points. On the other side is a suit, if this is a side being played. It's the player with the most cherries in their scoring pile that wins the trophy. And then that goes for all of the trophies. Most hearts, most 3 of a kinds, most 5 of a kinds, or most diamonds, most clovers, or most 4 of a kinds. There are also 4 jokers in the box. Each player will begin the game with 1 joker. The joker is essentially a wild card that helps you complete a contract. Once the joker has been used, it is returned to the box for the rest of the game. So players are only able to use their joker once per game. To set up the game, you will shuffle up all of the playing cards. You will deal 3 cards to each player, and then you will place the rest of the deck face down to form the stock, and you'll turn 6 cards over to form the market. You will shuffle up the contracts, and you will create a market of 4 contract cards. You will take the 4 trophies, and you will throw them onto the table, and whatever sides of the trophies are face up will be the goals that you are going for that game. Next, you will give each player their joker token, and you will give the youngest player the starting token. This means that they get to go first. So the game begins with the youngest player, and each turn will have 3 steps. You will draw cards from the market. Then step 2 is to complete contracts if you choose. And then step 3 is to replenish the card market and the contract market. So player 1 begins their turn by drawing cards from the market. You may draw up to 3 cards, and the 3 cards must either be the same number or the same suit. For this first turn, player 1 is going to go ahead and take the 3 cherries from the market. This gives them a pair of 3s and a pair of 5s, which gets them pretty close to meeting this contract of 3 pairs. And they'll also earn the suit bonus for doing that with cherries in the contract. At this point, they're unable to fill any of the contracts on their turn, so they will go on to step 3, which is to refill the market. Do this by flipping cards over from the stock to get the market back up to 6 cards. If any contracts were filled, you would do the same by refilling those empty positions in the market with cards from the contract stock. If at the end of your turn you do not have at least 3 cards in your hand, then you must draw from the stock until you have 3 cards. If you have more than 10 cards, you must discard from your hand back down to 10. Player 1 has concluded their turn, so let's move on to player 2. They're going to go ahead and pick up these 4s, add them to their hand. They are unable to fulfill a contract, so they will replenish the market. Play then passes to player 3, who does the same. They have a 2, 3, 5. They'll go ahead and take the heart cards. They cannot fulfill any contract, so they replenish the market. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit to see what it means and what it looks like to fulfill a contract. Okay, so here we are. It's player 1's turn again, and they are actually going to be able to fulfill a contract. They're going to pick up all these 3s and add them to their hand. Now they have more than enough 3s to meet the contract of 4 of a kind. When a player has fulfilled a contract, they pick up that contract card and they begin what is called their scoring tableau. It's essentially your scoring pile. You put the contract card face up, and then you look for cards with that suit bonus. So any cards that I use to meet that contract that are hearts will be placed beside my scoring tableau, and they will earn me extra points later on. So I did use a heart, so I go ahead and take that out, put it face down here, and then the rest of the cards used to meet that contract are discarded. The player then ends their turn by refilling the market and refilling the contract market too, and then play passes left. And that is the gist of the game. So let's just recap. On your turn, you will draw up to 3 cards from the card market, and those cards must either be the same number or the same suit. After drawing, you can fulfill contracts if you wish and if you are able. Any contracts you meet are collected and put into your scoring tableau. Any cards you use to meet that contract that match the scoring bonus suit on the contract, you take those out of the cards and put them in your suit bonus pile. Any cards not used for the suit bonus are discarded out of the game, and then you replenish all of the markets. You check your hand size. If you do not have 3 cards, then you draw from the stock up to 3, and if you have more than 10, you discard down to 10. And after that, your turn's over and play passes left. Play like that continues until a certain number of contracts have been collected, and that number is determined by the number of players in the game. In a 4-player game, it is the 5th contract that triggers the end game. In a 3-player game, the 6th, and a 2-player game, the 7th. Once that number of contract is collected by a player, everyone else will get 1 more turn, and then the game comes to an end. So if player 1 were to get a 6th contract, then player 2 and player 3 would get 1 more turn, and then the game would end. When the game comes to an end, it's time to tally up the score. Now, before we get into scoring, we have to distribute the bonus trophies. So our 4 trophies for this example include the player with the most cherries, which is the middle player here. You would look at the contract cards, and you would see that our middle player has 2 cherries, and the other players have 1. If there was a tie, nobody would get the trophy. Our next trophy is for the player with the most 3-card combos. Player 1 here has 2 3-card combos. Player 2 has 1 and 2. Player 3 has 1. So we have a tie. Nobody gets that trophy. Player with the most 4-card combos. So we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then only 1 over there. So the player 2 gets this combo as well. And the player with the most 5-card combos, which would be the middle player. Yep, they have 2. Now that the trophies are distributed, we can tally up the score for the game. Figure out a player's score. They add up all of their trophy points. They add up all of their contract points. This number here on the right side of the card. And then they also get 1 point for each bonus card in their tableau. And they earn a point for an unused joker. So if they had a joker and they never used it for the game, they would get bonus for that as well. The player with the most points wins the game. And that's how to play Romi Rami. So what sets this apart from traditional rummy games, or even other commercial contract rummy games out there like Phase 10? Well, first, it isn't just one contract that determines the round. Players are constantly trying to get contracts, and in fact, it's a racing game to see who can get that certain number of contracts first. Along the way, you're not only trying to get those contracts, but you're trying to figure out how to score those bonus points as well. So you're trying to capture a contract by meeting the criteria for it. Maybe it's three of a kind or four of a kind or a sequence, but you're also trying to build those melds with cards that will earn you bonus points. So if you play this game where you're only trying to get the contracts, you might not be as successful as someone who focuses more on earning those bonus points as well. If you would like to check out the rules for this in writing or other games, you can head over to gamerules.com. And if you'd like to help us out here, the best thing you can do is subscribe, ring the bell, give the video a thumbs up, and of course, leave a comment down below. All of those things really help us out. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep on playing.